morning to you and happy holidays. You're welcome to Newsroom here on GHOne TV. Now, coming up in the next 60 minutes, Ghanaians eulogize their first president, Dr. GHOne Nkrumah, on the occasion of his 113th birthday. Also coming up, international relations expert calls it needless the over-politicization of the celebration of the founders or Memorial Days. COPEC berates media reports citing leading OMCs for cheating customers. And later, President Akufo-Addo and 12 other African heads of state to address world leaders at the 77th UN General Assembly. We will take you there live. We have details of these and many others, including business, sports, and of course, we'll take you to the entertainment zone. Stay with us. Hi there, my name is Lily Mohammed. Now, in detailing the news, today marks the 113th birthday of Ghana's first president, Osajefo Dr. GHOne Nkrumah. Many Ghanaians are today celebrating him for his sterling role played during the colonial era and in the attainment of Ghana's sovereignty from its colonial masters. In the following news desk report by Harriet Okang, we explore his contributions to Africa and Ghana.
The statutory public holiday commemorates the birthday of Osajefo Dr. GHOne Nkrumah, Ghana's first president, who was born on September 21, 1909 at Nkrofo, near Axim in the Nzema East municipality in the western region of the then Gold Coast, now Ghana. Dr. GHOne Nkrumah got his secondary education at Achimota College, formerly Prince of Wales College, a prestigious school established by the then British governor, Sir Gordon Gaggisberg. GHOne Nkrumah was a Ghanaian politician, a revolutionist, and a theorist. He was famously known as the first prime minister and one of the major driving forces behind Ghana's independence. He was an influential advocate of Pan-Africanism and a founding member of the Organization of African Unity, now the African Union. In 1960, Prime Minister Osajefo Dr. GHOne Nkrumah was sworn into office as the first president of the country, and the republic was proclaimed on July 1, 1960. While Dr. GHOne Nkrumah was on a state visit to Vietnam and China in February 1966, his government was overthrown in a military coup. Nkrumah never returned to Ghana and died in April 1972. In September 2009, the late President John Evans Atta Mills declared 21st September as the centenary of GHOne Nkrumah's birthday in 1909 to be Founders' Day, a statutory holiday in Ghana. However, this changed in 2019 with the passing of the Public Holiday Amendment Bill. Prior to the passing of the bill into law in March 2019, the holiday on September 21 was known as Founders' Day. Founders' Day is now celebrated with a public holiday on August 4.
Meanwhile, international relations and security expert Dr. Vladimir Nchidanso has commended former President John Evans Atta Mills for passing the Founders' Day bill into law in order to celebrate Ghana's first president, Dr. GHOne Nkrumah. He, however, charged stakeholders to stop politicizing the Founders' Day celebration, saying the change in Founders' Day was needless.
President Atta Mills, listening to some of us, we went to him specifically to ensure that Nkrumah's name is not obliterated from the memory of Ghanaians. So actually he chose that day for the observance of a patriot's kind of day, you know, for all those who fought for independence, and as he said Nkrumah was the arrowhead of the struggle for independence. So he chose this as a national day for observation of our heroes. Unfortunately, after him, the whole thing turned into a huge debate. That 21st September, but unfortunately for the country, we debate things only on political lines. When President Mills chose that day and called it Founders Day, he meant founders, not one founder. That's what he meant, and I still maintain it. I've spoken on several platforms and have been insulted. I don't care. President Mills founders with apostrophe at the end of the S. Founders, all the Founders Day. But Nkrumah as the arrowhead, I've chosen Nkrumah's birthday to celebrate all the founders, which made a lot of sense.
And now to a rather unfortunate story where the police in Mankasim have arrested a pastor and the Tutuhine of Kumfi Akwakum for the alleged murder of a final year student nurse from Cape Coast. According to information available to GHOne TV's Yabwejan, the deceased was kidnapped and killed by the two suspects who also demanded ransom from her family. She's alleged to have been killed and secretly buried in the chief's room in Mankasim.
The arrest of the chief follows a confession by the pastor who led the police to the residence of his accomplice where the body of the student's nurse was retrieved. It is believed the deceased was killed and buried 3 weeks ago owing to the rate of decomposition of the body, which developed a bad odor which took over the community. Some residents who spoke to GHOne TV's Yabwejan wondered how a chief will allegedly be involved in such a crime. Assembly member of the area, Cephas Arthur, who also spoke to GHOne TV, disclosed that this is the 5th time such an incident is happening in that area. He therefore appealed to the police administration to beef up security in that area.
By a so-called chief at now he has run away. If he did this, why wouldn't he stay? For the Lord to be with his man for the honorable duty, together with the police and the volunteers or the watchdog committees to sit up so that we can easily fight against this unpleasant activity that is being carried out by some scrupulous people.
The body of the victim has been deposited at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital mortuary for preservation and autopsy.
Now, the director for IT of the NDC, Osei Kwame Griffith, says the challenges with the registration of the Ghana card will make it impossible for the National Identification Authority to register the majority of Ghanaians before the 2024 elections. According to the former NIA boss, there are systematic challenges that need to be addressed in order to fix the current challenges with the registration process to allow the majority of Ghanaians to register. He spoke on the sidelines of the press conference held by the Council of Elders of the opposition NDC.
By the NIA's own data, 1.5 million Ghanaians came before them hoping to go home with a card, but it did not happen. And what that tells you is that through no fault of these people, they don't have the primary document that is required to even register to vote. So there's an issue. And because of their various deadlines and failure to meet those deadlines, it is difficult for us now to accept the fact that they are going to be able to do it before 2024. The other thing is that I need to also state is that there's a serious technical issue when it comes to the NIA's process since they started in 2017. Because they said they didn't want to go to the electoral area, they failed twice because of cost. They said they were procuring an instant issuance system, right? Now they have gone to the failed ones, done the registration, but the instant issuance failed. They are now sitting in district centers for people they have registered who don't even know their cards are ready to come to district centers to come and pick. Whereas the expectation of the people is that they will come back to the electoral area level and distribute these cards. So there's a big problem.
Meanwhile, the NDC has once again mounted a spirited opposition against the decision of the Electoral Commission to use Ghana card as the only document for the proposed voters registration exercise. Addressing the media at the party's headquarters, National Chairman of the NDC, Samuel Ofuswampofor, said the decision by the election management body to use the Ghana card for the voters registration exercise will disenfranchise many Ghanaians from voting in the 2024 general elections.
The conduct of the Electoral Commission reinforces the NDC's suspicion of collusion between the Commission and the New Patriotic Party to rig the 2024 elections. As a party with legitimate interest in the elections and given the high stakes of the 2024 elections, we are simply unwilling to allow any manipulation before, during, or after those elections. And we will demand the strictest standard in the processes leading up to the elections. Since the CI has not been formally laid before Parliament, we take this opportunity to call upon the EC to abandon the idea altogether. We wish to serve notice that we will use every lawful means to resist this latest effort to undermine the right of Ghanaians to vote and in the process skew the electoral system in favor of the MPP. We will mobilize the broad masses of Ghanaians to wage a sustained and unrelenting campaign to prevent any attempt by the EC to strip large sections of the population of their right to vote. The Ghana card is a new feature of our national life and cannot immediately become the only means to identify a Ghanaian, only because it plays into the hands of the MPP, whose members constitute the leadership of both the National Identification Authority and the EC. In the light of the above, we demand an immediate cessation of all work on the laying of the CI in Parliament, pending thorough deliberation and consultation of all relevant stakeholders to fine-tune it to take on board the concerns expressed by us and others.
This is Newsroom. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Stay with us.
For life is for life. Just buy Storm, Puma, or Awake drinks.
Test the first 4 numbers on the bottle to star 780 hash. Or buy Awake drinking water. Test the last 4 numbers of the first line on the bottle to star 780 hash and select option 2.
And you stand a chance of winning an all-expense paid trip to Qatar.
Everyone is texting as many times as they can to stand a chance of going to Qatar 2022 to support our team, the Black Stars of Ghana, to victory. And win yourself amazing prizes
like fridges, microwaves, mobile phones, sound systems, and many more.
So my fellow distributors and wholesalers, buy 100 packs of Casapreco Awake purified drinking water, the Puma drinks, or Storm energy drink, and automatically win 10 packs free. You stand a chance of going to Qatar.
Let's Storm Qatar World Cup.
Let's go.
This promo is on the NLA Caritas platform. This advert is FDA approved.
Too many things happen in Ghana, and before you know it, the next big issue leaves you light in understanding things happening around you.
Because you were Honorable Majority Leader. Yes, I hear you, Mr. Speaker. Resume your seat.
From your doorstep to the marketplace to the corridors of power, no issue will escape my scrutiny. You deserve the more than basic current affairs program.
You are there to utilize the taxpayers' money contributed by the 30 million Ghanaians. You cannot use that money to go and service the interests of family and friends.
A full unpacking of the critical issues, analytical, probing, engaging, and pulsating.
The government has spent close to 15 billion to make sure that our banks that were about collapsing are not collapsing.
It is State of Affairs, and I'm here to serve your interests. Join me, Francis Abbott, this and every Thursday at 9 p.m. on GHOne Television. Time for deeper insights.
State of Affairs is brought to you by MTN, everywhere you go, and Cowbell Coffee. GHOne TV, your best experience.
For this day, what did you do to prevent this? At least this extent of damage.
And the rains, NADMO has embarked on intensive sensitization of the people living along the white bolter and the black bolters. That is to evacuate themselves to safe havens so as to prevent any disaster that might occur. And we also urge farmers who are farming along the white bolter and the black bolter to harvest their crops before the water can come. So we have been doing the education. It's not one, it's not twice. We have done it. Even the Director General himself was in town. He went to the Upper East region. He met with the various stakeholders. We went to the confluence at Galaika. He came to the Northeast region. He went to the Northern region. As for the education, we have done the education. And a lot of people have heeded to the call, and they've actually moved to higher grounds for their own safety.
All right. Thank you very much. In the coming days, we will speak to you again to find out interventions that you have given out to residents as they count their losses after these torrential rains. That's the Upper East Regional Director of NADMO, John Alhassan Kweku. Moving on, a former UN ambassador and an antique art collector, Chrysanthus Aki, has eulogized Kwame Nkrumah for his selflessness in championing Pan-Africanism. Speaking on GH Today, he also stated that Africans are interlinked through art. We'll bring you that story pretty shortly. Now, President Akufo-Addo, together with 12 African presidents, will today address world leaders in New York at the 77th UN General Assembly. Now, this year's is on the theme, A Watershed Moment, Transformative Solutions to Interlocking Challenges, recognizes that the world is at a critical moment due to complex and interconnected crises, including Russia's war in Ukraine, the COVID-19 pandemic, and climate change. Let's take a quick jet to the United States and speak to Peter Clottey. He's an international broadcast journalist with the Voice of America. Peter, good morning to you.
Lillian, how are you?
I'm doing very well. I hope you are doing well too. Apologies, we had to drag you out of bed this early.
No problem.
Right. So tell us, yesterday was the opening after 3 whole years of not meeting in person. What were some of the highlights?
Well, President Macky Sall of Senegal, who is the head of the Heads of State of African Commission, or the AUC, was the first to speak, followed by the DRC President, Felix Tshisekedi. The overarching theme they were talking about, one major thing they talked about was the lifting of sanctions on Zimbabwe, because they felt that the sanctions have outlived their usefulness and time and space, and it's putting a lot of pressure and stress on the administration in Harare to provide the enabling environment, create jobs for the people. President Macky Sall, on the other hand, was of the opinion that the sanctions would also have to be lifted and that there has to be reforms at the UN Security Council. He also mentioned the fact that Africa needs partnership for growth, and that those who are seeking a permanent seat on the UN Security Council are calling for the right thing, and that it is quite odd that Africa, being the second biggest continent in the world, seem to have been sidelined when it comes to decision-making at the UN body, which is the UN Security Council. They also called for a partnership with businesses and Western nations to put the money where their mouth is, literally, basically saying that Africa has been impacted negatively or heavily by the climate change, and that promises made by Western or wealthier nations to help cushion the effect of climate change is important for them to keep up their promises. 13 heads of state will be talking today, so we'll listen attentively to hear what they want to say. But there is a common theme that they want the sanctions to be lifted from of Zimbabwe, because I spoke with President Dr. Mokweti Masisi, the president of Botswana, who also echoed similar sentiments that the sanctions have outlived its usefulness and that it puts an unnecessary strain on the people of Zimbabwe and the government as well. So let's see how things go today.
I know that one of the key things they're talking about is the climate change, especially with the Ukraine crisis and the effects, the shortage of fertilizer. What is the action plan? I'm sure that in some of the speeches yesterday, they talked about the action plan to address this.
Yeah, they have been outlining some action plans, but the pragmatic steps needed to be taken have yet to be outlined or fleshed out. But then on the sidelines of the debate at the UN General Assembly, you have technocrats, captain of industries who are trying to address some of these things, trying to come up with solutions to help respective governments to try to address some of these things. So in the next few days, probably we might have a better idea or view of what these solutions are to combat climate change.
And the opening address of the UN president, what was the key thing that he talked about?
You mean the Antonio Guterres?
Right.
Well, you know, the major theme here is for the resolution of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The world needs peace because, as you are keenly aware, the ongoing conflict has had a chilling effect on the world economy, battered by the pandemic and then followed by this conflict. So the world economy is reeling under these, really difficult situations. So one of the key issues is for the two nations and other world powers to try to come up with a solution to resolve it, because a lot of countries are trying to build back their economies after they were battered by the pandemic. And so it is having a really crippling effect, especially in Africa. And that is why the head of the UN, or the UN chief, Antonio Guterres, is calling on world leaders to try to find a solution to this problem. Because the earlier it is resolved, the better it is for everybody else. Because, as you know, inflation is high, prices of goods and services are soaring all over the place. A lot of African countries are finding it difficult to create jobs for their people, and that is having a telling effect, because the youth have been agitating, trying to get better jobs, because there seem to be no end in sight for them, and they are quite restless. And you could see in West Africa there were agitations, there were protests in Sierra Leone, in Mali, and all that. And then you have some militant groups who are fueling this and attacking people in Nigeria, in Mali, in Cameroon, and other places. So let's see how things go. It is too early. It is only Wednesday. We have Thursday, Friday, and the sideline meetings will continue, and see how things go from here.
But briefly, before you take leave of us, we understand that President of Ghana, together with 12 African presidents, are speaking today. Is that the case?
It is. You are right on that. The president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is scheduled to speak around 4:45 p.m. here in New York, which is approximately 8:45 p.m. Accra time, or across Ghana. So let's see what he has to say. But the overall theme, a lot of these heads of state have been talking about, is about climate change and how to help Africa, or how the world can galvanize together to try to resolve the impact and try to cushion the effect of it, and the lifting of sanctions on Zimbabwe, and the need to ensure political and security and protect the territorial integrities of these respective countries. Because, as you know, this terrorism and Islamic militant insurgency cut across borders, and a lot of these world leaders are trying to find solutions to their respective problems at home.
Right, Peter, thank you very much for speaking to us. Later on, we'll come back to you for more as world leaders still converge in the United States for the 77th UN General Assembly, Peter Clotes, an international broadcast journalist for the Voice of America. This is Newsroom. We take a quick break. We return with more stories. Do stay with us.
Of university students go unemployed every year. Not a pleasant stat, but it's happening every year. That's why we need you to lend a hand. The Skill Up for Jobs Bootcamp is an initiative of the University of Ghana Student Representative Council 2021 to 2022 with the Global Entrepreneurship Network, GHOne Ghana, as lead project implementer, providing students with the requisite skills and training needed to become highly employable, work remotely, or create their own jobs to reduce graduate unemployment. Lend a hand. Let's make a change. Sponsor a student now. Please donate now at www.ugsrcskillupforjobs.com or dial star 887 star 17 hash on all local networks in Ghana. Lend a hand. Let's make a change.
We are the future, but our voices are often lost in national conversation. We twaddle and twiddle on social media. But what if Twitter runs out of hashtags and Facebook limits live streaming? How would we be heard? Tomorrow's Voices is a youthful platform to lead change, amplify our voice in socio-political issues, and help build a better Ghana. I am Emmanuel Ijaben. I'm passionate about Ghana. Tomorrow's Voices. Let's start talking today, only on GH1 television.
GH1 TV, your best experience.
4 years ago is now a World Cup winner. Spain have won. France are the champions of the world.
From 1930 up to this point, the world has come together every 4 years to see to a beautiful rotation of football on the pitch. For the very first time, the World Cup goes into the Middle East. Qatar 2022, here we come. Give you the historical analysis from the Pele era to the current era. We begin our journey in September with Soccer Chat. Soccer Chat delves into the history of the World Cup, from the best goals, the best scorers, the best headers, the best goalkeepers, all coming to you right here on GH1 television. Will you miss it? Certainly not. Soccer Chat begins the journey.
GH1 TV, your best experience.
Welcome back. This is our branch time news here on GH1 TV. My name is Lily Mohammed. Now, reports coming in from the Upper West region suggest that some pupils of the School of the Deaf in that area were nearly kidnapped by some unknown persons on Tuesday night. Though the reports are sketchy, GH1 TV's Upper West regional correspondent gathers that the pupils of the school raised an alarm on Tuesday night, forcing the intruder to run away. This comes at a time when the police, led by the IGP, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, are investigating the circumstances leading to the deaths of 9 security personnel in the one municipality. So far, one person has been arrested in connection with the alleged ritual killings. Here's headmaster of the WA School of the Deaf, Sylvester Bayo, speaking to GH1 News about the incident.
Because of the recent happenings, they are scared. And because of that, some were running to the watchmen for protection. I think they thought that was one of the murderers that had come in. Others were running towards bungalows to get support from teachers. So of course, you don't have to blame them, because nobody is happy with the situation and everybody is scared. At that time, we were busy trying to catch the chief or whoever was there, rather than calling the police. Our main problem is that we don't have enough security men. That's one aspect. And looking at the size of our campus, 3 security men are inadequate. Because if one is manning the main gate, the second one is at the small gate, then you have only one patrolling at a time. And it's not that easy. We've cried and cried and cried. And we think that if we had a brighter campus, it will serve us better. In our situation, when we are walking, we are using our eyes to see and using the eyes to hear. Because when we don't see, we don't hear. Because of the recent happenings, they are scared.
Let's bring you the business brief. Now, the Executive Secretary for the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, Duncan Amoah, has reacted to publications citing GHOne for cheating customers. This follows a media report concerning the alleged closure of one of the company's rich service stations in Sunyani in the Bono region. According to him, the reputation of the highly end brands by GHOne should not be dragged in the mud by false claims, since the Ghana Standards Authority is the only acceptable institution entitled to make such claims.
Ghana's leading oil marketing company, GHOne, has assured the public that it will always ensure that consumers get value for money for products that they buy from its service stations. This follows media reports sourced to the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, that its service stations in Sunyani, as well as firms and engine filling station in the Bono region, have been locked for allegedly cheating consumers, but COPEC boss disagrees.
The OMC, or the station where you buy fuel from, is supposed to have a 10-liter can, the one we call in Tree in Tiase Kroa. So once you get there and say, okay, give me 100 cedis, and the machine indicates they have given you 100, yet you saw no movement or change in your fuel reading, instantly request for the 10-liter. As and when the station refuses, you can scale up to file a report to the Ghana Standards Authority if it is volumes, or the NPA if it happens to do with the quality of the product. Those numbers are boldly displayed across all the filling stations. Sometimes we just refuse to see them.
In a statement, GHOne described the publication as false and hinted that the Sunyani Rich service station was not locked by the National Petroleum Authority. The reported issue at the Rich station involved 2 faulty nozzles which were given fluctuating readings at various times when using the Visu gauge 10-liter can. GHOne denies cheating consumers and assures them value for money. The Executive Secretary for the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, Duncan Amoah, however, charged the OMCs to institute internal mechanisms to check service delivery in order not to injure highly recognized brands.
Having studied the GHOne allied and is it engine and another one of the OMC's situation in Sunyani, those 2 pumps in question, one was said to be over-delivering, which means that if you buy, it will serve you way more than you're actually paying for. And one was under-delivering. Per the rules of the petroleum downstream, and for that matter, the rules on weight and measures, the only legally acceptable entity who has a right to pronounce on whether you are getting the right volumes or not, I'm afraid happens to be the Ghana Standards Authority.
Now, with the central bank in focus after data from the Ghana Statistical Service revealed that inflation for August 2022 stood at 33.9%, economists with the GCB capital, Courage Boti, is admonishing the Monetary Policy Committee to be cautious in hiking the policy rate. The MPs is meeting this week to consider happenings in the economy over the last 2 months. Ahead of an announcement of the resolve of the committee, Courage says increasing the rate at which the central bank lends to commercial banks has the potential of eroding the gains of the decision made by the committee at its emergency meeting a month ago.
the interventions are forward-looking, like I said. For the next 3 months, starting this September, there is a 1% increase in the cash reserve ratio for the next 3 months. That is they saying per day analysis, per day assessment, maybe we expect this level of growth in the cash in circulation or money in circulation, and this is how we intend to reduce it until there is a drastic shock and we are seeing the re-emergence of exchange rate pressures again. I know a cocoa loan is in the works, but not concluded yet, and it appears that that conversation has dragged for a while. I don't know what the difficulty might be at the time, but if we do not have a relapse in the CD, maybe for the fourth quarter and around the Yuletide season, which will pass through to inflation significantly, from the simulations we have, inflation should be peaking. I want to think that is giving them some comfort, or should give them some comfort, that probably price pressures could stabilize soon and maybe begin to ease, going forward. But we have concerns for growth. Quarter 1 growth wasn't exactly impressive. You just read out that quarter 2 growth was 4.8, better than quarter 1 and better than quarter 2 2021.
Right.
But it doesn't really solve the problem of growth, especially given the withdrawal of policy support for growth in the near term, really. And so I think we need to be a bit cautious in our approach to hiking the policy rate so we do not stifle growth and stifle employment creation. I think that should be concern to the Bank of Ghana at this point. And that is why their actions, especially for the emergency meeting, I believe is enough for the rest of the year.
Now, the coordinator for the Ghana Landscape Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project has allayed fears of the government's inability to tackle illegal mining, otherwise known as Galamsey head-on. Dr. Kinsley Krugu, who spoke exclusively to GHOne TV, disclosed that other means of deterring miners from the illegality, including the ban on small-scale mining, are overly simplistic. He adduced that making the processes for obtaining mining licenses easier is rather a forward-looking approach to fighting Galamsey.
It is not the people who are lances and have the legal right to do the mining who are creating the problems we are seeing. The problem is coming from people who are doing it illegally. Government is looking at a much more sustainable way. If one small-scale mining is the preserve of Ghanaians, if you make it easier for Ghanaians to get licenses, then you can regulate the sector. Because it is when they have licenses, they come under the regulations of the Minerals Commission, the regulations of the Environmental Protection Agency. That is part of a sustainable solution to the problem. It is very simplistic to just say, let's ban it. And that is why a lot of effort is being put into simplifying the processes of getting licenses, and also the other interventions that government is putting in place to support the law enforcement mechanism to make sure we do. So it is very simplistic if you just say, let's ban it, because we have walked that path from March 2017 to December 2018. Small-scale mining was banned. What has been the outcome of that? So government is very reflective on that and looking into a more sustainable way to deal with the issue. So it's not just a simple matter of banning it.
Let's bring you some sports news now. Now, supporters of Tamale City FC invaded the training pitch of the club to demand answers from management after a dismissal letter of Emmanuel Kotei was leaked on social media. The left back player was sanctioned for misconduct on the pitch after being issued a red card during the game with Legon Cities on Sunday.
The Real Tamale United left back Emmanuel Kotei was dismissed for misconduct following the club's match day 2 loss to Legon Cities in the ongoing Bet Power Ghana Premier League. But supporters of the club have kicked against the decision and described it as harsh. According to them, management needs to revert their decision. Tamale City spokesperson Abdallah Martin said management have listened to the plea of the supporters and plans are underway to meet with them to settle the issue amicably.
Because he has been a fan favorite, it is not appropriate for the team to come out and then sack him at this point, just 2 games into the Ghana Premier League season 2022-2023 season. We just had a meeting with our fans, and they have laid they have actually brought up their suggestions, we as management will sit down together with the leadership of the supporters and see how we can come together and resolve the issue amicably.
Emmanuel Kote is one of Tamale City's best players, the PRO revealed. The reactions of the supporters comes under a press release which was chanced upon on social media, addressing the player in a statement signed by the Chief Executive Officer, Mohammed Idi, that the player is reported to have been exhibiting insubordination and gross indiscipline. Thus, the management of this club have resolved to sack the player from the club with immediate effect. The statement further states the club, Tamale City, is bigger than any individual and would not condone any act that will bring down the hard-earned reputation of the club.
Now, today is exactly 60 days to the FIFA World Cup. Former Black Stars midfielder Emmanuel Ajimambedu has admitted that the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup will be a competitive tournament for the Black Stars. He believes that the inclusion of the current crop of players, the team will excel. According to him, the World Cup is taking place at a time all the leagues are active, making every player a top-notch to contend with.
This will be the toughest World Cup ever because of the time frame. Now the leagues are going on. All the countries that are coming to the World Cup are coming with their full force, if not injuries. Because you see Portugal or Cancelo, he's playing every 3 days. You see Bruno Fernandes, he's playing every 3 days. So they are coming with a great form. That is one. Second, FIFA have changed the substitution. Now it's now 5. So if your bench is not solid, it will be a disaster for you. So you need quality in all aspects. And these 5 or 6 guys you have mentioned, they have all the qualities. We just pray for them for injury-free. Do well with these pre-season games. I will call it pre-season games because it's World Cup pre-games. Do well to get the confidence to know their colleagues and to go in the World Cup. We have the quality in the team. We just have to get a bit of understanding in the game, and I think we can cause surprises. The technical, Chris is a very well-experienced coach, which everybody knows. Where Otoado is coming from as well, we know his background, the team he's in. I think they will also help him in certain aspects. George is fantastic, so I think they have a solid team to take Ghana forward.
Now, Ghanaian amateur boxer Samed Shakor admits to taking a banned substance unknowingly before the commencement of the just-ended Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, which led to his suspension from the Games.
Samed Shakor was suspended from the Commonwealth Games after he tested positive for doping a day before he took to the ring. The amateur boxer was billed to fight Mauritian Rosalba Jean-Luc in the heavyweight division, but his opponent was given a walkover after failing a doping test. But speaking to GHOne TV Sports, Shakor revealed that he took drugs ostensibly to treat fever, but turns out to be a banned substance.
I was sick by then, 2 weeks to the tournament. So since we are home, no one is giving us money.
Was it headache, malaria?
It was fever.
Okay.
Fever. So I was, taking a lot of medicine. I'll just go to a pharmacist and be like, oh, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm feeling. Okay, take this, take that. It'll be okay, take that. So I was also taking in a lot of medicines, which I didn't know it was a banned substance.
The heavyweight boxer apologized to Ghanaians for his inability to fight at the Games and hoping to bounce back to win a world title for Ghana following his decision to turn professional.
I even want to take this opportunity to apologize to my fans that I was very sorry that I couldn't participate on that tournament. And I didn't take in a medicine that I did not have intention to take a medicine. And I believe everything happened for a purpose. So I apologize to my fans and every Ghanaian that I'll bounce back strong. To make them proud. Now I'm done with my distance, my amateur level, and my focus is in the professional now. My target is to win a world title. And surely I'll make it up to them.
Shakor is still under suspension from the Commonwealth Games as he awaits response from the Commonwealth Games Federation's investigation into the doping incident.
And so that's it for the holiday edition of the news. We wish you all a happy holiday Enjoy the rest of our programs. My name is Lily Mohammed. Good afternoon.